So coming to listening to you, Annice, tell us what would be your advice to young students who are in management colleges or actually other colleges as well as they are preparing for their professions. What would be your advice about diversity and inclusion to them?
I would say that diversity exists, so therefore have an open mindset to be inclusive of diversity, right? There are many things that we know. There are many things that we know that we don't know, but there are many unknowns. And so be open to the fact that when people are different from you, when you're discussing something and it is not the norm, or when you know that it is, when you feel that I don't get it, it might not be because the other person is doing a mistake or at a fault or something less, but just a different way of thinking. So have the growth mindset to be able to unlearn, learn, and relearn. I know diversity and inclusion is a vast subject, and if I can say what can you keep in mind with regards to having this inclusive mindset, I would say that have the openness to improve your awareness around diversity. Read a lot more. I mean, today the world is, the technology and the internet is so advanced that you need not necessarily read with a hardbound book, right? You can harvest knowledge through various sources, whether it's YouTube, whether it's podcast, whether it is white papers that is being published, whether it is talking to others. So have the open mindset to become more aware. Understand one different diversity aspect of your colleagues, friends, of your interviewers, wherever you go. Have that openness. Ensure that your behaviors are always respectful, even though you might feel somebody is not so respectful, right? And the reason I say is very often people act and their behaviors and actions might look as if they are being rude or they are disrespectful or they are hangry or they are hating on you and so on. However, having a mindset of being, of your behaviors being inclusive and being respectful will help you to understand things from the other person's perspective. This will not only make you look more professional, more advanced, and more mature, but it will truly help you to be respectful and dignified of everyone you meet. And that automatically will help you to be more inclusive in the workplace that you go to. The third one I would say is while you do this change in behavior, think about how you can connect with other people and challenge assumptions that you have grown up with. Question the status quo, have a curious mindset. Now, in any of this, I have not mentioned the actual diversity tips. And the reason is, it is for us to find it in our own journey. So awareness, behaviors, and curiosity will be something that will help you to have that inclusive mindset as you move from campus to corporate. Because while you are doing that, it is a long stint that you're getting into, right? Yeah. So that would be my recommendation for people moving from campus to corporate.
Yeah, excellent. I think the ABC, awareness, behaviors, and challenging mindset leads to better D, E, and I. So
nice.
So I think that's the ABCDEI. I think that's the framework. Thank you, Annice, for sharing that. And my last question for today is, what would be your advice for the professionals as they are working and preparing themselves for leadership roles in organizations? As a person who has had vast experience looking at organizations, the idea of diversity, inclusion, and also leadership from close quarters, what's your advice to professionals?
To begin with, the way I look at leadership itself is it's changing, right? I'm unable to recall who said this, but leadership is no longer a title. It is a talent that you can learn and develop. And leadership comes not when somebody, and what does it mean? It means that leadership comes not because you are sitting in a position of command and control, but really when other people recognize you as a leader, when you are able to coach and collaborate and other people look up to you as a leader, that is when that is the true leadership. That is great leadership, right? So for this, what do you need? I think it's extremely important for us to keep in mind that while we think about leadership roles, to really go deeper and become a true expert in whatever role that you're doing, right? Like don't lose focus on the core of your strengths, core of your skill set. Go as deep as possible, be the go-to person for everything in it, but at the same time, have the openness and the flexibility to learn from others. As I said, in this world today, we have to unlearn and relearn many things. So have that flexibility in mind. The second thing I believe most, maybe it is the first thing, in fact, is to be aware. To be here mindfully in everything that you do goes a long way, right? It seems so simple, like, aren't we doing that? But being aware of yourself and being aware of people around you so that as you go forward, you take people along with you will be second. The third thing that I would say that in order to see great leadership, taking ownership of everything that you do, taking up that accountability and responsibility. But I would say, much more would be the ownership in terms of how you're going to take something forward and be able to share that with others in a way that they are able to equally participate, add value, and therefore you become inclusive. So these would be, in my mind, top 3 things that I would look for in a leader while, they're aiming to get people along and really become a global leader. These would be some of the things that I have in mind.
Yeah, and I think what you say connects beautifully with the whole idea of diversity and inclusion. We've got to be aware of the diversity, be flexible enough to adapt, and then take ownership to actually include that into our behaviors and in organizations that we lead, the teams that we lead in, and so on.
I love that, Professor. You connected it beautifully. Couldn't have said it better. Thank you.
Thank you. And so that brings me to the end of the questions that I wanted to ask you about this topic and about the work that you, but I have, before we end, I have a rapid fire. I would ask you some questions and I want you to answer spontaneously what comes to your mind. So that's the quick buzzer round or the rapid fire round. That so are you ready? There would be 6 questions and I want your honest response to those.
Okay.
Yeah. So here we go. The first question, your hero / heroine.
My hero has been my dad for the way he brought me up. As a teenager, he sent me to a place where transgender people lived, and I was the only girl in their entire group to go there. It made a lot of impact on me. So, and he was a wonderful human being, respectful, inclusive, believed in harmony. So my dad. Heroine, many women who have done great roles. I must quickly add that I was very inspired by the character of Gangubai because of the way in which she brought dignity to a profession where we, in many of parts of our society, it's even taboo to talk about prostitution or sex work. And in such an era, she really brought in something amazing to bring dignity to the community. So very inspired. I can go on, but I will stop here.
Yes. So your passion. Second question. Your passion.
My passion is, I'm a person who always wants to explore the unknown. So I have a very curious mindset. So my passion is about knowing more, reaching out, understanding more, go deeper, and research more, and so on. And this passion to understand has helped me to drive with purpose in terms of how can we create a world that is more inclusive and more respectful.
Yeah, yeah. Two most important values for you.
I think I kind of told it in my previous answer, but respect and inclusion. Okay. And the reason I would say this is because stemmed on this, various things arise, right? Yeah. Like my support for right against wrong always, bringing a balance into my life, unwavering integrity and honesty, all that comes from my values of respect and inclusion.
Okay, your concept of an ideal leader.
Wow. I find that leadership, when I think about people who truly stand out, is in the way their actions and behaviors come up. And for me, I wouldn't call it a sacrifice, but my great leaders are people who do something so fantastic and still are humble enough not to take and make a big show of it themselves, but give the credits to their people around them. I think my mom, for example, she has unwavering focus in terms of how both of us, my brother and I, should work, move forward, and really make it in life. And she never talks about her effort, right? Whether it is getting us all the stuff we need, helping us burn the midnight oil, doing that extra bit to ensure that we are given that extra tuitions, whatever. She never is proud of, oh, I did this and that's why my children are. She is so amazingly brilliant and at the same time very humble. So for me, that's an example of great leadership, an ideal leader.
Okay. Your concept of an ideal organization.
My concept of an ideal organization is an organization which can truly foster inclusive environment for diversity. I love the environment I am in today because at SAP, I feel I can bring everything I am and become whatever I want to be. Having an environment that gives me that opportunity and also allows me to, give me that freedom to work, but at the same time, have great mentors and a great environment to really reach your potential is totally amazing. And it's the recency bias that I'm just talking about SAP, but there are companies which are like that. For example, I did my human rights law in SAP while I was working. And that could have happened only because my manager said, yes, Annice, go for it. What do you need? I'll support you. Similarly, today, I have personal ambition to go and live in another country. And that is being, being supported fully by my manager. And I'm getting this opportunity to go live in another country, work with SAP. So I would think an ideal organization is where it truly fosters diversity and, it fosters an inclusive environment and embraces diversity.
Yeah. And last question, your ideal world, concept of an ideal world. So we are moving in levels, leader, organization, and now world.
That sounds like, the typical beauty contest question. So yeah, I would also believe in world peace and harmony. But when I really look at it, especially the times that we are going through, it is the need of the hour where we want to see harmony and goodwill and respect for all people, which is diverse already, right? And
that cannot happen without inclusive.
Yeah, and exactly. And we are all longing for it. And it is so relevant, especially when I see the wars, when I see the societal tensions, when I see the cultural differences, which is breaking us apart. I realize that today we need to as a species, as human beings, really overcome and uplift ourselves from the very old unconscious biases and beliefs, and really work towards us coming together as a more aware and respectful, dignified society. So that would be my ideal world.
Okay, thank you. Wonderful answers and very straight from the heart answers, Annice. It has been amazing talking and learning from you. My personal takeaways would be being more conscious of the invisible diversity. While we think there are diversity in terms of visible, but there are efforts that need to be made about the same. The ABC framework was absolutely brilliant, being more aware, minding your behaviors, and then challenging preconceived notions, which could lead to the better DEI. And again, the being aware, flexible, and taking ownership for leaders about not just diversity and inclusion, but almost every other thing that they do in the organization. I think it makes a lot of sense. And once again, on behalf of the center, we thank you very much for taking out this time and sharing very open, honest ideas about the world, about the work that you do, and also some of the future things that organizations must keep in mind. Thank you very much, Annice.
Thank you, Professor. It has been an honor, and I hope I added value to what you were thinking. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Annice.